Welcome to another Caring Support podcast. This week we have a really awesome up and coming nurse, the lovely Mackenzie. And I'm not going to even pretend for a minute to pronounce your last name, Mackenzie. I'm going to let you do that if you don't mind. But if you could please start us off by telling us about a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit, please.
Yeah, so my last name is Ostrowski, so Mackenzie Ostrowski. It's Polish, so a lot of people do butcher it, but I'm usually pretty easygoing with however it's pronounced. So I'm recently graduated from Ontario Tech University with a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing and a dual minor degree in entrepreneurship and forensic psychology. I was a first generation student, and I recently wrote and passed my licensing exam, or the NCLEX. So I'm happy to announce I'm now a registered nurse with the College of Nurses of Ontario. Otherwise, I still live at home with my parents and my dog. I am passionate about continuing education. I'm also very passionate about caring for others, and the little free time that I do have, I enjoy reading Colleen Hoover books and baking and traveling. So I've done a lot of traveling already in my 23 years. I've traveled to over 19 different countries now. So I hope to keep doing that because the best education is just immersion into those cultures and learning about it from the people who actually live that way, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. Good on you. Wow.
I
Obviously,
know, a
quite the
lot.
superstar. Yeah. And congrats on the nurse, passing the exam. And
Thank you.
that's amazing. I know you're going to do so many great things in healthcare because you're obviously a wonderful human being. And by the way, I was out one night. My friend who's Polish, she was like, well, I'm pretty sure that she's got a Polish name. I'm like, dude, you may
Yeah.
have to help me pronounce it. Anyway, so I defer to Callie to ask the questions.
Awesome. Thank you.
Congratulations on your graduation. We're going to
Thank you
start
so
off
much.
by asking you what inspired you to want to become a nurse?
Well, I was first exposed to the medical world when I was a little child. I had emergency surgery for appendicitis, and at the same time, my father was being treated for stage 3 colorectal cancer. So it was a very difficult time for my family, and the nurses were some of the most supportive, educated, and caring individuals that I've ever met. So I kind of wanted to work in the hospital or healthcare at that moment because I was just so inspired by them. And when I was released from the hospital, I often played doctor on my stuffed animals or my pet bunny. And I really wanted to be a physician. But after going into life sciences after my first year of university, I realized that the lab wasn't for me and I wanted to connect with patients one-on-one. So I switched into nursing, realizing that was more where I was passionate about. So I really love that personal connection that nurses get to generate and nourish. So yeah.
That's amazing. And good on you. Good on you to pursue your passion like that. And obviously, here you are, you know,
Yes.
you've done all the work, all the
Yeah.
schooling. Yeah, that's awesome.
So, can you tell us what a regular school day looks like for you or what it did look like for you? You've graduated now, but can you give us kind of an overview, like life was like on campus, the number of classes you kind of took, hours, you dedicated to homework, all of that kind of fun stuff?
Yes, this is a really loaded question, so I'll be talking for quite a bit. But my regular school day was kind of a mixture of online and in-person classes. My first year was more in-person classes, so it consisted of having labs about 2 times a week, and that was practicing skills like completing head-to-toe assessments or manual vital signs, catheterizations, NG2 placements, oxygen therapies, communication techniques, transferring, ambulation, hygiene, feeding, complex wound care, trach care, IV therapy, all that fun stuff. So that was really interesting. We got to do that right away and start learning those main important key nursing skills. Lectures were mainly in person in my first year, but then it kind of went to a mixture of online and in person, depending on the professor. And with COVID outbreak and everything, it kind of put a wrench into things. So in second year, it was all online for me because of the COVID-19 lockdown. So that's where we did a lot of online simulations, which was kind of different for me because we had our first placement in first year and I loved it. And it was in the hospital setting for me, working with older adults who needed complex continuing care. So I just loved it and I wanted to keep doing it, but the online simulations were still really good because we learned so much more information that maybe you wouldn't have been exposed to in person. So we also did clinical debriefs as well. And in second year, we kind of did also pharmacology, so learning about all different medication routes like oral, subcutaneous, IV, suppositories, inhaled, creams, ointments, whatever you can think of. So we did all of those. And then third year, we went back into placement. So it was every 2 times a week, every week. And then final year was like 600 hours of placement. So we had 240 in our consolidation, our very last one. And all of our placements were either in hospitals, clinics, or long-term care settings. So we got exposed to a ton of different things. I got to learn so much from different areas. But yeah, I also, because I did my minors, I was doing spring and summer courses and taking extra course load here and there. But they were pretty flexible with my minors, so I was able to complete them with no issues. But overall, if I were to estimate how many hours a week dedicated to nursing schoolwork, including studying, completing the actual schoolwork, and attending placement, I would say probably 50 hours a week. Classes took about 12 to 15 hours a week. 24 were for placements, and then the remaining I just did for reading and studying and working on assignments. I think one of the other questions you asked was if I commuted to school. So I did commute to school. I used to live pretty close to campus, so that made it really easy for me. But even after I moved further away, I still did the cost benefits, and I realized that commuting was better for me at that stage. But yeah, so it was pretty busy, especially being involved with student engagement activities, but I really enjoyed what my day-to-day activities were like on campus.
Yeah, you know what's really cool about all that, Kenzie, is between the traveling and your dedication to taking this, I mean, you have been very receptive to change.
Yes.
When you had to do the stuff online and everything, that's really great because very often a lot of healthcare it's been doing the same thing for many, many years, and they struggle sometimes to change. And we know this firsthand working with a lot of places, they have to change the recruitment model now because we're in a candidate first market. So, with having said that, that's kudos to you because that's going to be really critical when you work in an environment to be able to be receptive to change, to innovation, to saying, hey guys, like we can't be afraid of this. This is all about working smarter, not harder. So that's wonderful. Absolutely.
Yes, there's tons of innovations. I've taken a course on innovation management, and I actually really enjoyed the class because it's just so applicable today because the world is constantly changing and things are always changing. So it's important to kind of incorporate that into our mindset and being open to different new ways of doing things.
What was your favorite part about being a nursing student?
So I really enjoyed the clinical experiences. Not many university degrees have like practical experiences or hands-on learning. And that's what I really loved about nursing is because you got to have that aspect right away. And my university was amazing for it because they had significant variety of different clinical placements. So not only were you exposed to different aspects within nursing, but you got to create your own judgment on that clinical area so that when you graduate, you kind of had an idea of what field or department you wanted to pursue.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you were so dedicated, which is great because sometimes when you talk to people say, oh, I love the partying in school or I love the, whatever it is. And,
Yeah.
but, with you, I'm sure you had your time when you had fun, but, you can clearly see that you went through this on a mission and that is amazing.
So a lot of students, when they're going into university, it really doesn't matter what they're going to master in and all that kind of stuff. But they always come out saying, I really wish someone would have told me this before I started. Did you have any of those when you went into nursing school? Like just something you really wish that people would have told you?
I think overall, I would just wish people told me to just enjoy the journey and take part in more university engagement activities and events because the time honestly just flew by. And as students, we often get really caught up and stressed about our studies. And then we don't take that moment to breathe and just kind of relax and talk to other students about how we're feeling or even just enjoying being a nursing student. And another thing is like how important self-care is. Like that's become such a like presence in our like day-to-day lives now since COVID has really occurred. It's kind of pushed it into being known. But back when I started, it wasn't a huge aspect of being a student or even a nursing student. So I like to think of it like when you're on an airplane and they go through the safety training and they're like, put your oxygen mask before you assist others. So I'm like, how can you expect to care for your patients if you don't care for yourself first? And that's really important as a student, as a nurse too.
Yeah, that's the number one analogy used when people are training in emotional intelligence and about self-help and self-love. So, good on you to know this now. Because very often, like when we were at a nursing school recently, there was most of the conversations with up and coming nurses were about how much money they're going to make, where they should go, where there was more money, the opportunities that lie before 'em. And that's important. It's very often that when people get older, they suddenly realize that it's not just about money. It's also about what's the culture like? Am I going to get the proper work-life balance? Will I be able to have times or be in an environment where I'm respected, heard, appreciated, and recognized? And so it's great that you think this way now, because here's the thing, Mackenzie, you probably noticed, you're the one that's in charge and you are really wanted. And I'm telling you right now, anybody in there with half a mindset to know would want you for a nurse. You're amazing. And
Thank you.
you're really, really, no, you have your head together properly. You're really thinking about the big picture and you are absolutely dedicated to what you want to do. And that's like, wow, like not many people can do that.
Thank you
So
so
good for
much.
you.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's true though.
But yeah, it's a big area right now with nurses and nursing burnout. So it's important to kind of recognize that even as a student, that it's just so impactful. And like, again, the culture, like you were saying, like it's good to be respected and treated fairly between your colleagues and even peers or management above you, right? So
Now that you've graduated, what area of healthcare are you hoping to work in and why?
So I'm hoping to work in the emergency department at my local rural hospital. I had my consolidation placement there and I just like fell in love with like the fast-paced dynamic environment. And I enjoyed seeing the variety of different patient cases and the clinical nursing skills that I got to use every day. So it kept things very interesting and it made me a better critical thinker and decision maker because of it, because you had to sometimes think on your toes.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. And I'm glad that happened for you that with to potentially want to work in this hospital. Now, let me tell you something, Mackenzie. For any reason this doesn't work out or whatever, call me because we work with a wealth of hospitals, long-term care, retirement, home care, and they're always wanting a superstar nurse. And then I'd say, well, I know a total superstar nurse that's up and coming, smart, engaged, great. So yeah, I mean, we are also acting almost like a manager to some degree because we created a placement service and the idea is to say, hey, how do we help find amazing nurses? Because they're going to be like, find them, work with the vetting to that, and then say, hey, to an organization that doesn't have time to look or whatever it might be, here's an amazing person that will make a difference in your environment. And a lot of places are like, yeah, sign me up because we're not an agency, it's way cheaper. So, but it's still to find amazing people like you.
And that's what I love what you guys are doing is you're connecting the right people to the right jobs because sometimes it's so difficult to find the right fit for everyone. And sometimes that does involve moving or it does involve changing your lifestyle, but it's about the process, right? And you guys help with that. And a lot of people get stressed out about it. So great for you guys as well.
Yeah, we even thank you for saying that. We even created a contest recently that's giving away $100 gift card because all it's about is, hey, when you get on the platform, or maybe you're already on the platform, make sure you build a fulsome profile. And the reason for this is because it will really impact how well you show up on the other side. And I can imagine you, if you got on there and even did a video and everything, because you're clearly comfortable doing it, you speak beautifully well, you're articulate and smart, and all this stuff comes through and it creates authenticity and likability. And a lot of people don't realize that that's all available on our platform. So when they get on there and you look at it and they're like, oh my God, okay, this is totally cool. And then you can absolutely connect with them. You can reach out proactively. So we're trying to make a difference, Mackenzie, and I really appreciate what you said because that means a lot to the caring support team. we're working hard to make a difference in healthcare.
And that's what we need right now too. So
Yeah.
good on you guys.
Thank you.
So what advice do you have now to give to future nursing students?
So I have quite a few, I think. First, again, is just being able to breathe and enjoy your time being a nursing student, because it will be over before you know it. And I would also give the advice to stay organized, prioritize, and start early. Because overall, just succeeding in nursing school is just about time management and dedication. So many of my peers would often procrastinate on assignments, and it would cause so much unnecessary stress. So I was just always telling my friends, like, hey, like if you start early, like it's not as stressful, or like staying organized and like putting things in a day timer, like it really does help. I know it's such a simple thing that gets overlooked or is talked about so much, but it is really important. And a clinical tip is prepare your lunches, your clothes, all of your snacks, whatever you need for the next day, the night before, because it's already stressful enough sometimes going to placement. So that morning is stressful as it is. So just taking as many things out of your morning routine helps, because then you can go in with more of a clear mind.
Wow. I don't know about you, Callie, but this sounds like a nurse who's been in the industry 10 years.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
she
I'm
already knows this
impressed.
is what you got to do. This is going to be on top time. Manage your time properly. Be organized. Like you're like, what?
There's
You know
there's a
what I
future
mean?
consultant in here, I think, for nursing students. She can just go around and bring them all
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. I may have to introduce you to Barbara because she'd love you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. I would absolutely love for us to be able to talk forever, because it sounds like you have so many awesome stories about nursing school and your future. And we're so excited to see what your future has in store for you. But we are coming to the end of today's episode. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell us about today, or any other pieces of advice, or anything at all?
I guess for individuals who are thinking about nursing school or in nursing school, like best of luck and take your time. And another thing that wasn't stressed enough, I feel like for a lot of students, was don't stress over a bad mark, because that doesn't define you as a future nurse. It's just one mark. And sometimes you're just a bad test taker. So asking questions to your prof and saying, how did I do on this? Can you explain to me why it didn't go this way, or what I was thinking, and how can I correct myself to make sure I'm not making these mistakes in the actual clinical settings? Which brings me to the point of don't be afraid to ask your professors or your preceptors or your clinical instructors for help or explanations, because they're there to help you. And it's good to have those support networks, even if it's just your peers or other people that you know who are nurses, or anyone that you feel like can help you through your struggles. It's really important to have those people in your life. And also focus on things that you can control. Otherwise, don't put so much energy into things that you cannot, because oftentimes we do that and we stress ourselves out over things that are out of our control. So those are my last pieces of advice.
No, it's all great stuff. You may have to be a nurse consultant because no, you'd be great at it. I mean, here's the thing. When COVID first hit, and all of us on the caring support team, and we were, busy working from home. I know for some of us, certainly my main business partner, Joseph, and we love to network. And all of a sudden there's no networking. Everybody's shut down. And so many people are reaching out to us and saying, you guys okay? Whatever. And I was like, yeah, actually, I can't control that. So why complain about it? I have to roll with what's available, take advantage of the opportunity, and make a difference. So this has made a difference for us, Mackenzie. You're very inspiring.
Thank you.
And you're just getting started in the nursing industry.
Yes,
Just
starting.
Yeah. So, wow. Like very, very impressive. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. And we'll see you all next time on the next episode. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Mackenzie.